Okay, notice reading in the book that you finally have diagrammed these mysterious three chords. Past couple of videos I've been using G, C, and D. You now see in the book what notes there are to hold down for G, C, and D. And G, A, B, C, D. G is the 1. A, B, C is the 4, D is the 5. So remember we talked earlier about a 1, 4, 5 progression when we were talking about our power chords. To recall this. Well, now we're doing it again. G, 1 to the 4, C, to the 5, D, back to the 1. And also when we talked about the 5 chords, we also talked about the pentatonic scale. And you line it up with your 5 chords, like if you're playing in the key of G, everything starts on G in the pentatonic scale. It's lined up there too. So that's playing melodies over chords. Well, we're now going to be playing in a slightly more, it's more like a classical way of looking at things. This doesn't negate what I talked earlier about the 5 chords. That's the rock and roll system. We're now talking a little bit more like the classical folk system here. See, these things kind of like overlap and intertwine. In this particular case, you have all the notes of the key match. Remember I mentioned with the pentatonic scale and the 1, 4, 5, there are notes that don't necessarily fit. It produces a tension. That's on purpose. This particular style of music, this classical style, folk style, it's more about you have the notes matching. And of all these notes that I'm playing here, all the notes are natural, except for this F sharp. So, if you want to mix melody lines with your chords, you got to find out what your sharps and flats are in your chords, in your key. We'll talk about keys later on. And then as you play your chords, you play notes in between them that match the notes. If that made sense. It's just like as you play your chords, you play notes that match the rest of the chords. So you go G, so I started down here and I hit this G, F sharp, E, D, C chord, E, G, A, B, C, C chord, G, F sharp, back to my C, G, and there we have the suspended chords we talked about. Major, suspended 4, major, suspended 2, major, C, thrown a D note because it matches, G. That's called a hammer-on, what I just said there. You play it, like, try it on your high E. You play it, and now what I'm doing is, you hammer on like that. And it's kind of hard because you got to go real quick. If you go too slow, you mute the string. It's just very quick. Flick it on there, and then you'll notice I kind of flick downwards. That's a hammer off. Hammer on, flick it off, flick it off. And you can probably hear the thunk when I'm hitting the wood. Notice I'm not picking with my right hand here. This is the harder way. But you can also play like that. Now on electric guitars, you can do this thing. You can't do it with classicals anywhere near as well, where you can sit there and match your 12 frets apart and just kind of like tinkle away. But you don't get much sound out of it because in a classical guitar you got to pluck the string. In an electric guitar you can actually do these things. You'll see Eddie Van Halen and several other people sitting there where they're just kind of up and down. It's a fun little technique. I don't personally use it much because I play classical guitar, but it's very, it's another thing to work on if you want to, if you have electric. But the main idea we're getting to here now is, first off, you're going to have your brain work on getting these 3 chords. And then, as you shift between each chord, just pick any notes that match. You know, in this case, between the G and the C, all the notes are natural. When you get to the D, you got the F sharp. So the combination of the 3 chords, play natural notes or an F sharp in between the 3 chords.